Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is an update broadcast, and I think that I would start from the news that we got from Dangote. On Sunday, Dangote did actually have a broadcast where he laid, down the foundation, of what's gonna be happening with the refineries. There were a lot of stuff that he did talk about, but one of the major things that became viral, and so much so I did knew when it was given that 1 hour plus conference, that the issue with this guy, engineer Farouk Ahmed, was going to be the thing that was most talked about. Second to that is the issue that he decided to reduce the price of PMS. So the PMS price has been slashed to $6.99, and his expectation is that the final pump price will be around $7.40. A lot of people have actually taken that. Someone came online yesterday and told us that from our own experience, the price seems to be coming down. Right now, inflation for Nigeria is around 14.45. But that being said, I thought that was it. But Dangote actually snapped. He really snapped by publishing an allegation, against engineer Farouk Ahmed, the authority chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. He did hint on that and said he was going to take action. Now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the allegation. Let's talk about what's been happening. Okay. So this is the publication. You can see it was signed by Aliko Dangote. And this is it. Allegedly spent, that's engineer Farouk Ahmed, authority chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, allegedly spent over $5 million on his 4 children's foreign secondary school education in Switzerland. That's it. Name of the children and secondary school. Now, there's been a lot of debate online with respect to this, where some school of thought are like, okay, fine, you can go after the father, but just take the children out of it. Some people are saying that, well, the father stole the money, allegedly took the money, so that, again, what does it really matter if the children are named? But again, the allegation is about $5 million spent on certain on some given school, for his 4 children. So he did mention their name. I'm not going to read it out here, but he has the school names and then the duration of the years that the student studied. And then you have the estimated cost here, estimated secondary school cost, annual tuition, air tickets, and upkeep, $200,000 by 4, that's 800,000, close to 1 million. And then he also spoke about the total living expenses per child. You have the air ticket for 6 years by 4 children, 4.8 million. So that's how we got his estimate of 5 million being spent. I don't know what your thoughts are. Should he have mentioned the name of the children, in the allegation published? Okay. Again, if the names are not mentioned, I know some school of thought would be like, okay, fine, where is the evidence? And it says facts don't lie. Nigerians deserve to know the source or the sources of this sum of money paid by a public officer, while many parents in his home state of Sokoto cannot afford to pay 10,000 school fees. I thought it was mentioning 100,000, but let's just put it at 10,000 school fees for their children and work. So that was the allegation put forward by Dangote. And I think he actually did go to a radio station yesterday, and he did speak in Hausa. So the gloves are off right now. Dangote wants Farouk Ahmed to be prosecuted, but these are all allegations. I think no, he should be deemed innocent until proven guilty. And that would be my take. But again, it's a legit ask, it's a legit petition. Let's see what happens. Now, there's another twist to this that I'm actually looking at and I'm thinking about. And that is the issue with the ability for this guy, Farouk Ahmed, to be able to disseminate his activity without any bias. Because he is a regulator. Dangote is powerful. Dangote is powerful. He is a regulator. So now there must be a balance to all this. There must be a balance to all this. And at some point, I don't think that he should be removed until there is a reasonable investigation and a diligent look into his affairs. I don't think they should remove him because Dangote said he spent $5 million on his kids' school fees. Okay? It could have been legitimate. It could have been otherwise. I don't know. So that calls to question the fact that this needs to be taken seriously. This needs to be duly investigated. But again, until he's convicted, okay, or until he actually says, okay, fine, I took the money, then he's going to be deemed innocent. That's how it works. But that being said, how is he going to also perform his duty, without any bias against Dangote, now that Dangote has alleged? So we'll wait to see what happens. But that's the whole story that has gone viral. This has been published today, I think on Business Day. Let's see this. Dangote releases details of the alleged $5 million spent. Yeah, we've seen that one. We've spoken about that. Dangote published this. So that's just most of the allegation that we have. Farouk Ahmed has not spoken a word. He hasn't been able to do anything. So Omojuwa's point is that he should have actually left the children names out of it. Baba no dey fight corner fights. That's someone's comment to that. I like it. I detest people who fight. So again, people are like, you know what? Yeah, you should put the names there. If the guy is responsible, so be it. Let's see what happens. But I think, God bless you, Jay. That's my own too. Alaji's action is shitty, uncalled for, and against data protection. I remember there was a few years ago when Sanusi was the CBN, was the head of CBN, okay? And he did publish names when immediately, shortly after he took over, of people that, were changing the old financial system, directors that would take loans from bank and will not pay back. And Sanusi did publish names. And at that point in time, Dangote's name was actually part of that list. And the report that came out was that Dangote was very annoyed and said that why would he have published his name? Again, Lamido's response was that, well, we were publishing names of people that had bad loans at the time. So we'll see what happens with this. And then we'll see the response from Ahmed Farouk. Let me see if he is actually as Ahmed Farouk made any remarks. And I don't think they should take him. I don't think they should actually take him out of that position until there's a due investigation. I don't think they should take. I don't want them to do or have a Kemi Adeosun's reaction. Because as bad as Buhari's government was, Kemi Adeosun was taken out because they wanted her to go. Okay? Yes, engineer Farouk Ahmed, the CEO of NMDPRA, has publicly responded to Aliko Dangote's allegation. Okay, on December 16, 2025, he issued a personal statement describing the claims as misleading, ill-timed, and commercially motivated. He mentioned scrutiny of his finances and investigations by authorities like the EFCC, Icpc, and the Code of Bureau. He argued that the allegation ignored context from his 30 years of public service and coincides with NMDPRA enforcement of quality standards that revealed substandard imported products. So again, Farouk Ahmed is fighting back saying, you know what, I did a report on Dangote refineries okay, and then you're coming back to get at me and my children because I actually did make a report, on the quality of Dangote's product. Regarding the specific claims, that's according to him, of 5 to 7 million on his children's Swiss education, Ahmed called it misleading, noting that 3 of his 4 children received merit-based scholarships, covering 40 to 65% of tuition costs. So again, Dangote snapped, okay? And if this is true, that 40 to 65% of the tuition cost was covered, so we're still left with 2.5. So Dangote needs to revise his figure down, no longer 5 million, but 2.5. He framed the accusations as an attempt to undermine NMD PRA's regulatory independence under the Petroleum Industry Act. No direct post from Ahmed or official NMD PRA account. So again, that's him. 2 minutes ago, let Farouk Ahmed dispute the allegation. That's how Farouk Lawan carried himself in House of Representatives as untouchable until a billionaire, Femi Otedola, exposed him and he ended up in prison. Classless. Oh, what is this? Oh, so again, the APC guys are actually responding that why would you do that? This is the allegation. This is the published allegation. Okay, on The Nation. So we have this on The Nation. And Dangote has the money to actually buy all the papers if he wants to. So this is it. Putting his face there saying this is an allegation. I don't even know what's going to happen because now there's a bad blood between the regulators and a company that they're meant to be regulating and a stakeholder in that company that they are meant to be regulating. Again, Dangote, when he fights dirty. So at this point, if his facts are not correct, then it's going to be a big problem for him, for Dangote. Okay? And then we'll see what happens. You don't want to go against a regulator except you have the full information. And that's why I said earlier on that you don't remove this guy until there's an investigation and you can really confirm that he's actually corrupt. Okay? And that being said also, the regulator has a duty not to be biased. So it becomes difficult to see how that will work out in this case. Remember, we had the issue with the Pengerson and the sacked 800 workers in the Dangote refinery complaint. That one also, Dangote was able to, at the end of the day, have his way. We'll see what happens with this story. Again, that's the update that we have with respect to Dangote's allegation against engineer Farouk Ahmed. So that's it. I'm going to move on. The Farouk Ahmed children should have been left out. I've spoken about that, and we'll see how that goes. Let me see this. Dangote petition Icpc. This was 6 hours ago. Let me see if we can have something. Okay.
To submit a petition, a formal petition against, on behalf of our clients, Dangote Refineries and Petrochemicals, against Engineer Farouk Ahmed, the CEO of Downstream Midstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, the Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, over his excesses that we believe was he's benefiting unduly from the public office he holds against Section 19 of the Icpc Act. And in the circumstance, we have no choice than to formally present a petition against him. We have evidence. The petition has already been submitted and acknowledged by the Icpc. You can see it from here. Now, we attach evidence of monies that are being expended as school fees for his children. Okay. In excess of $7 million annually. And we wonder, a civil servant in Nigeria, where he gets that kind of money to pay school fees alone.
Okay, so this is more like an anchor, right? You're saying because he paid 2-point-something million, it must be corrupt. So again, it's worked. NMDPRA, this is the regulator for the midstream and the downstream sector. And we know for for a fact that there is a high level of corruption in the fuel sector, in the petroleum industry. We all know that. But that being said, you have to be able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the guy is corrupt. Let's just put it that
and
way.
other logistics decisions on behalf of his children. So we have the right as taxpayers, our client has the right as a taxpayer to present this petition against these excesses of a public officer. It's for the commission to investigate, and if they found that a prima facie case has been established against the said engineer Farouk Ahmed, the formal prosecution will be taken up against him, and the law will take its course. The law is not a respecter of any person, no matter how highly placed. Others cannot be toiling in the country to make a living, while some others are busy grandstanding on frivolous lifestyles. So we have a duty to present that petition, and we've done just that.
Okay.
If
Fair enough. We'll see what happens.
Commission was duly established by an act of parliament to investigate issues like this. And there has never been any formal petition presented.
Sorry, I'm having a drop
before
in frame.
The commission, the Icpc, to enable them to investigate this matter. The House of Assembly, the House of Representatives, or whatever, they have their oversight function. And this does not impinge on the credibility of their oversight functions. So if they want to resolve it this way, we have a constitutional responsibility to present a petition against somebody who is a public servant, who is under the rules of the public service rules, and we believe is acting outside the confines of the public service regulation. So the House of Representatives have their right to carry out oversight function in line with Section 88 of the Constitution, which does not in any way affect the rights of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission to investigate a petition by a citizen, a taxpayer, over a public officer that acting in gross excess of what he's supposed to do as a public officer. Let the commission investigate and tell us what they want to do.
Your name again, please.
My name is Innocent Ado.
Okay, so again, we'll wait for the investigation. But until we can prove, that he's guilty, I think the president should not remove him. He should still be allowed to do his job. And then we'll see what happens. For me, I think that all allegation needs to be looked into. I mean, if there is some evidence of truth or elements of truth in there, then we should look into that. That being said, I'm going to move on to let's look at these rumors of my collapse and death. Akpabio orders NSA DSS. So just around the weekend, I think that was on Sunday, I saw different news with respect to Akpabio, where we had news that he actually did collapse and was rushed to an hospital. I try as much as possible not to comment on that because at times these are personal stories, health stories. I do believe that as a public official, you owe the public, that duty to report your health status. And today it was at the Senate plenary session, and it did address that.
Which does not need any exhaustive deliberations. So I would say that your point of order is sustained. However, you have to know it's not only politicians that they make these reports about. Somebody was telling me that they showed a burial ceremony of a business tycoon when the person is not dead, and they also said the former head of state, General Gowan, is dead when he was alive, attending the last Christmas carol. And I don't know. I think all we can do is to. Is it the view of the Senate that this matter be referred to the National Security Advisor, the DSS, to investigate? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. That is it. I think that's all we can do. You can't stop people from writing. You know, the internet is garbage in, garbage out. So you can't stop people from putting in garbage. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
To start an exam, I represent Benue Northwest Senatorial District. Mr. President, I come under Order 1B.
Okay.
And Order 41 and 51. With your kind permission, may I proceed?
Yeah, proceed.
Okay. Mr. President, Order 1B reads, in all cases not provided for in this standing order or by seasonal or other orders or practice of the Senate, the Senate shall by resolution regulate its procedure. And Order 41 and 51 are matters of urgent public importance.
Okay.
Mr. President, standing on these very important orders, I wish to draw the attention of the Senate to a recent social media reportage that alluded to the fact that Mr. President, Mr. Senate President is dead.
What is
in London? That you
That's
are
crazy.
dead in London hospital. Who? You.
I mean, it's even funny the way the guy said it. You mean you are dead. And the guy's like, woo. That made me remember when Obasanjo did that phone call to Yaradua. Right? It's just quite unfortunate that Yaradua was very sick when he was campaigning to be the president of Nigeria, to take over from Obasanjo back in 2007. And we had all those stories where, about there was rumor that Yaradua died while, during the campaign. And then Obasanjo took the call and called Yaradua. They say you died. I said, me? No, I didn't die,
President, the number 3 citizen of Nigeria.
Senator Zam, sorry, are you part of the proceedings today?
No.
Because I thought I heard you say you are dead. If you are dead, how come you are here?
That is the more reason why I have to bring this matter to the floor. Mr. President, may you protect me. No, this is a very serious matter. Number 3 citizen of Nigeria, person and your office needs to be investigated. Because it's not only you that was reported in this negative manner. The former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, was equally reported a few days ago to have died. This is not a good report about the leaders of our country.
Yeah.
And there is the urgent need for us to put machinery in order to not just investigate, but to punish the promoters of such negative news about the leaders of this country.
Yeah, fair enough.
When sanctions are meted out against the promoters of such negative report about our leaders, it will serve as a deterrent to anybody who engages in such an infamous and dangerous act against the leadership of our democracy and our country. So I want to crave the indulgence of my colleagues to support that this matter be taken up seriously with a view to sanctioning those who are behind this. The social media promoters of negative information can be traced and they be punished. I so move my distinguished colleagues. Thank you very much.
42, which does not need any exhaustive deliberations. So I would say that your point of order is sustained. However, you have to know it's not only politicians that they make these reports about. Okay. Somebody was telling me that they showed a burial ceremony of a business tycoon when the person is not dead, and they also said the former head of state, General Gowon, is dead when he was alive.
I almost fell for that Gowon stuff. I was live online, and then I saw the news, and I was like, oh, is that? And then I was like, okay, fine. Before I actually start talking about this, let me just confirm. And then I confirm, like, the guy was just in a Christmas Carol outing in Aso Rock just that same day. And that's crazy.
Attending the last Christmas Carol. And I don't know, I think all we can do is to, is it the view of the Senate that this matter be referred to the National Security Advisor, the DSS, to investigate? Those in support say aye, those against say nay. That is it. I think that's all we can do. You can't stop people from writing, you know, the internet is garbage in, garbage out. So you can't stop people from putting in garbage. Yes, leader of the Senate.
All right, thanks, this Mac. Yeah, please, guys, subscribe, like, and share. I really do appreciate all this. Really helps the channel. Thanks a lot.
You may move your motion. Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Abubakar Sani Bello, Niger North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, may I move a motion that the Senate do consider the report of the screening committee of 3 ambassadors, namely Latif Kolawole Are,
Oh, no sound.
Emmanuel Ayodele. Okay. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to lay the report before the Senate before I give highlights of the summary and recommendation.
Okay. Yeah, let's move on. I mean, just quiet day. Okay.
President, most of the vital information are contained in the report, so I'll just go straight to recommendation.
Okay, fair enough.
Mr. President, the committee has carefully and thoroughly screened the 3 nominees and is satisfied with their qualification, exposure, conduct, character, experience, and general performance. The nominees have displayed wide and in-depth knowledge of international diplomacy. The committee therefore recommends as follows. 1, that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Latif Kayode Kolawole Are as appointment as a non-career ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 2, that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Aminu Muhammad Dalhatu for appointment as non-career ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And finally, that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Emmanuel Ayodele Oke, CFR, for appointment as non-career ambassador of the Federal Republic Nigeria. We so move.
Again, at this point in time, I just think that all this confirmation is just it's a rubber stamp. Okay, I mean, I don't know what critical stuff they did examine. The only time I've seen this Senate reject someone has been basically politics. Case in point, like El Rufai, it was purely politics, and rightly so. I mean, there was a concern that El Rufai has stepped on a lot of toes. And again, I think El Rufai's rejection by the Senate was more of a 2027 and year after game, right? Because I think that El Rufai was trying to position himself as the heir apparent once Tinubu leaves government. There were a lot of stakeholders and powerful blocs that felt like, you know what, El Rufai shouldn't even be involved in the administration of Tinubu. And then back and forth, fast forward to today, El Rufai is no longer with the APC and is now working to see the ADC win the election. I don't know how that would work out for him. But again, all this confirmation, I've not seen any real value add when it comes to guys going to the Senate to go for screening or to go for certain scrutiny. And that's just what it is.
Senator Wamaku, of Latif Kayode Kolawole Are, representing Ogun State for appointment as a non-career ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Aminu Muhammad Dalhatu, representing Jigawa State for appointment as a non-career ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Emmanuel Ayodele, okay, representing Oyo State, as for appointment as a non-carrier ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Okay, so the ayes will always have it. I mean,
Leader of the Senate.
And that's the current situation at the Senate. So hopefully we'll see what happens after that. So that's it. So he did actually respond to the rumor that he was flown to the London hospital and that he was dead. So he's here, attended a plenary session today, and that's it. Hi, Kathy. Welcome to the show and good evening. Yeah, so that's that. I'm gonna move on. That being said, we all know that the wife of the former president and also the former head of state is out with a book talking about, Muhammadu Buhari, and the life of Muhammadu Buhari. We saw the daughter's speech and all of that. And that's the reality. So I just want to play it and see if there's anything we can actually glean from that. Let's see, Buhari. Oh, sorry about that. So I'm just gonna be reacting to these, and if it becomes too boring, I'm gonna move on. But again, the president was there. You had the first lady. You had some dignitaries. You had some of the monarchies. Ed were there also, and so that's this happened, I think, yesterday. Yep. So this is the person that wrote the book. His name is Charles, I believe. Okay, that didn't move on. Let me see. Yeah, this individual, this is the person who actually did write the book about Muhammadu Buhari. I think a lot of PR, I would say, was actually also done in that book, trying to just isolate Buhari from all of the havoc and all of the stuff that came with his administration. Which is quite unfortunate because the average man's thought on the street is that the administration of Buhari was actually a disaster. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna skip. This is on Onuga. I'm gonna skip again. So I guess people just settling in and
which would give us a small gleam into his persona. Life is full of coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
My father actually served with General Buhari when he was a lieutenant in 1963. I was 9 in primary 4 in Lafenwa, Abeokuta, 2nd Battalion.
Okay.
He told me this himself one day under the shade of a tree in his Kaduna residence, that he served first in Abeokuta, was commissioned. And I said, but my dad, we were all there at the time. Of course, I didn't know him. I was just a child. I only came to know him 11 years afterwards, in 1974. At the time, I was serving in the 3 Recce Regiment in Port Harcourt, and he had just been posted in as the Colonel General Staff of the division. He was slim, tall, no pot belly, soft spoken.
Whatever that means. No pot belly. Okay. No pot belly. Yeah, I mean, that's just his DNA, right?
And he wore his starched uniform well. All the officers respected and admired him, and he was highly regarded.
Okay.
But my proximity to him increased in 1977, 78, when I was ADC to General Tiwad Anjuma, then Chief of Army Staff. He was then Minister of Petroleum. He often consulted with the chief then, and when he came to the office, he was never harsh to us young officers. He was kind, easygoing, and he chatted with us. And occasionally when he came to see the general, and he was too busy to see him at that particular moment because he was working, he waited patiently, unlike some of his colleagues, who, I will not repeat some of the words that they used, most unkind remarks, sometimes.
Oh, this is Bubamawa. I didn't even know. Wow. So Bubamawa was in charge of Lagos State. It was more like the military personnel in charge of Lagos State for a long time. If you are familiar with Lagos State, you know this was Kekemawa. So he was the one that actually, brought in out of the military. I can say this guy was people kind of know him. Again, given his portfolio as the one in charge, the administrator in charge of Lagos State, I think he became one of the popular military officers then. The Keke Napep, people call it the Keke Napep, some people call it Keke Marwa. So the Keke Marwa is actually named after this guy. He was the one that brought them in during his time in Lagos. Okay.
But he was always calm and happy. And his residence was actually just behind the ADC's residence. He lived then on Thompson Street at the back, and we lived on Webb Road in Ikoyi. And often when I take messages to him, there was my favorite Kununzagi, always. That's what we used to serve in that in his residence. I won't forget it. Now, in 1983, when he was appointed GOC 3 Armored Division, we, the Corps Armor Officers, objected. We thought that he ought not to have been the GOC when there were officers like Sadu Ibrahim, who were Corps Armor Officers. And because of the nature of IBB then, as we all know, he was open to officers, loved, well-regarded, and you could tell him almost anything. The Sultan can testify to that. He was always ready to listen. And so we approached him and said, why did he post an officer of the ST to be the first GOC Armored Division? And IBB said, calm down, I know what I'm doing. He's a fine officer and he will do well. He soon proved that when the Chadians entered Nigeria and took over some of our islands, General Buhari relocated his headquarters to Maiduguri, took charge of the operation personally, and flushed the Chadians out and actually went on a pursuit. He went within artillery range of N'Djamena. And if he had not been stopped, maybe today Chad would have been another state of Nigeria. Now, the president was a man of principle. And when he takes a decision, he could be inflexible. No backtracking. Once he believes his reason is right, and have the example to present. In 1981...
Again, talking about his state as someone that was too rigid. I think it was too rigid, and that worked. Again, it's a two-way thing. It can work for your advantage, it can work for your disadvantage. I think Buhari being too rigid actually did, when you look at it on a larger scale, work against him. It was too rigid for him to understand that the times have changed, the seasons have changed. There's a need for much more ability to lead as a Democrat now. He couldn't move from that state of being a military guy to a Democrat, understanding what is required. I had a lot of people on them. There's a video that I might want us to watch where they were saying that almost all the ministers, 90% of the ministers of Buhari should be in prison right now, because the level of corruption under his tenure was really astounding. You know, we had the subsidy scam went to the roof under his administration and all of those.
He was the president of the exam panel that sets the exam for captain to major staff college qualifying promotion exam. There were 190 of us that wrote that exam. The written exam has 6 papers, of which you must score 50% in each to pass. And out of 190 of us, only 3 of us passed. There was nothing that was not done to persuade him to adjust so that more people will attend the staff college. He refused. He submitted 3 officers, and he was told, but the staff college takes about 100. What do we do? He said, close the staff college course for 1981, and this thing to staff college. And he stood his ground. The rest, of course, is history.
If 3 out of how many people passed? Out of a lot of people, like in triple digits or so, 190, 3 passed. I mean, that's a shame, number one. Number 2 is that means there's a fundamental problem. I mean, this is not a principal thing. There's a fundamental problem with just 3 people passing out of 100 plus people that took the exam. Is that why the state of our nation is where it is right now? Is that why we can't even take out insurgents, all these terrorists and all that? I'm just saying. But again, yeah, that's his principle, but there's a fundamental issue with that one.
As it happens, throughout the period, he was a military head of state. I was away in America in the school, so I wasn't here completely throughout his tenure. But when I came back as military administrator of Lagos, he was chairman PTF. And we were now about to commission the asphalt plant.
So again, just to put things in perspective, he became the chairman of PTF after he had been the head of state. So he had been the head of state, okay, and it was taken out. There was a soft coup, or I would say just a palace coup. It was taken out, and then I think Icpc took charge. Then you had Abacha. Abacha came in after Icpc. Icpc, of course, had this interim government, which was Ernest Shonekan at the time. Then Abacha came in, took out Ernest Shonekan, and then became the substantive head of state. Now, that being said, Abacha actually didn't make Buhari, and if my memory serves me right, the head of the PTF. And he did a lot of projects as the chairman of the PDF, or the person that was in charge and presiding over the Petroleum Trust Fund at the time.
And I thought that with the record he set on infrastructure in PTF, he was the right person to invite to commission the asphalt plant. And so I flew to Abuja with my letter, presented it before him in his office, and requested if he could kindly commission the plant. He graciously agreed. On the day of the commissioning, as I was waiting for him in the airport in Lagos, I was going through the newspapers. The Punch newspaper of that morning had a cartoon of me and him. That cartoon depicted me pushing a wheelbarrow with trousers and singlet, sweating with a towel on my shoulder, building roads in Lagos. And it showed President Buhari far behind, opening his eyes and wondering, who is that man there? Then I said, I hope he has seen this newspaper today. And I told my people, please, because we are going to ride in the same car, don't bring any today's newspaper near to this car. Send it off. And so he arrived, and I received him, and he was sitting in the car. And I thanked God. I said, I'm sure he has not seen that terrible cartoon. As we were driving along, he then turned to me and said, did you see the cartoon today in the Punch? And he burst out laughing. And I looked at him carefully to see whether it was a fake laughter or genuine laughter. And I found that it was genuine. He was really laughing. And the sense of humor was extremely, extremely high.
Yeah, that's what they say. Like when the rich man, even if something is making the rich man to misbehave and do as if he's smiling, they'll say, oh, it's the rich man, he's just doing his own thing. Again,
I joined politics with the CPC. He was, of course, as we all know, loved by the masses, actually adored by the masses. And in CPC, there was no money, as we all know. But somehow, he got those millions and millions of votes. What did he give? The CPC gave 6.2 million naira. I ran his campaign in Adamawa, 6.2 million naira. That could not pay for arranging the venue of where he was coming to address us, talk less of the whole campaign. And when I called our treasurer, Sadia Umar Farouk, at the time, 6.2 million naira, what am I going to do with this? She said, count yourself lucky. Some states got 4 million. And yet, people in droves came after him.
Yeah, he actually
My next pivotal crossing.
He did have this cult-like following, like in the north, Say Baba, that's how they call him then. He had that ability to draw the crowd. So that was one of the edge that he had in 2015. And I don't think anybody has had that same ability to draw the crowd no matter what. I think Peter Obi has some. You recall that 2023, Peter Obi single-handedly, even without a good party structure, was able to garner 6 million plus votes. So I think Obi has some. But again, compared to Buhari, I think Buhari has that ability, had that cult-like following and all. And they revere him in the north for the most part. Okay.
With His Excellency President Buhari was with regards to PASIDA, Presidential Advisory Committee for the Elimination of Drug Abuse. The brain behind PASIDA, of course, was Her Excellency Dr. Aisha Buhari, who is right here with us. And soon after he appointed me into NDLEA chairmanship, there wasn't one single request that I placed before him, not one, which he did not approve. Barracks, vehicles, arms, equipment, recruitment, everything. And I'm happy to say that the support we received from President Buhari to the agency was continued and even amplified by his successor.
Okay.
His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who graciously renewed my tenure just 4 years ago.
Yeah, so now I think he's the chairman of the NDLEA, also the Drug Law Enforcement stuff.
4 weeks ago. Thank you very much for the honor, Your Excellency. And in closing, let me recall one important aspect of his character, which is encouraging subordinates and appointees. We made our largest seizure in the NDLEA in September 2022, 2.1 tons of cocaine. That is valued in today's 760 billion naira.
Wow.
And to my surprise, the president was in the UN in New York, and he actually phoned all the way to commend and congratulate us. And that went a long way in encouraging and raising the morale of our officers. And another aspect, quickly, is his generosity. I think most people think that he's tight-fisted. Well, that's not the experience that I had, because one day we were just talking, and I said, I'm going for a medical checkup. Then, as I was going out the door, he called me back. He said, I'm going to send to you. My mind never went that send was money. I thought it's an assignment that I was going to send. And eventually, he sent a very handsome amount. Look at the amount. If you can see it. Handsome amount, so he was quite generous. So wrapping up, the man whose legacy we celebrate today was a man of honor, a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man of principle.
Yeah, again, I mean, that can be debated and that can be contested, given the result we had when he was in charge of the whole country. But it is what it is. People close to him believes that he is a man of dignity, a man of character and all that. But the whole argument still remains that the Nigerian people suffered a bigger, loss, when he was president.
An officer and a gentleman. A man who loved the masses and the masses loved him back. A soldier who fought for the territorial integrity of Nigeria. A true statesman. May the Almighty Allah grant him Al-Jannah Firdausis and continue to protect and bless his family. And may the Almighty Allah continue to bless and protect His Excellency, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his esteemed family. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so that's the NDLEA, I believe, boss. And also, I was a former military administrator for the state of Lagos during the military rule. I think Abacha was the head of state at the time. I'm going to take a time out right now, and then I would come back later in the next few hours. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your comment. Thanks for the likes. I really appreciate it. Thank you.